Greetings, shadow thinkers. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a heated conversation. Someone tries to provoke you. They raise their voice. They throw sharp words like knives. And yet, you don't argue. You don't get angry. You don't let their poison touch you. You simply do something different, something that changes the entire dynamic and leaves the other person powerless. That is what we are going to uncover today. But before diving deep into this mind-shifting strategy, take a second, hit that like button and subscribe. This channel is all about exploring the hidden mechanics of dark psychology, manipulation, and the human behavior. If you want to sharpen your mind, this is the place. The truth is, most people fall into the same trap. Someone offends them, and immediately they react. Anger rises, words fly back, and the cycle of conflict spins out of control. But here's the secret. Every reaction you give is a gift to the other person. You're feeding them energy, attention, and validation. That's why the real power lies, not in shouting louder or arguing smarter, but in removing the fuel completely. When you stop giving what they want, your outrage, you strip them of their weapon. There's a psychological phenomenon called emotional baiting. Think of it like fishing. The offender throws a hook, disguised as an insult, a provocation, or a sneaky comment. Most people bite instantly. But if you don't bite, if you let the bait float untouched, the fisherman is left powerless, frustrated, even exposed. In that silence, in that calmness of yours, they reveal more about themselves than you could ever reveal by answering back. Let me give you a story. A man once entered a crowded marketplace and began shouting insults at a philosopher who was speaking to his students. The philosopher didn't respond. His students were shocked. "Why don't you defend yourself?" they asked. The philosopher smiled and said, "If someone hands you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" The students understood. The gift of anger, the gift of offense, left untouched, belongs to the one who offered it, and it begins to burn them from the inside. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, remember this: arguing is a trap, anger is their weapon, and offense is a door they want you to open. Close it, and then do something else entirely. Something that flips the power dynamic without you saying a single unnecessary word. What you do instead is lean into the art of controlled presence. Imagine a chess master who doesn't rush to move the first piece, but studies the board. Every gesture calm, every silence intentional. That's exactly how you dismantle the aggression of others without lifting a finger. When you don't argue, when you don't react, you are silently rewriting the script of the interaction. They expected chaos, but you bring stillness. They wanted your fire, but you give them ice. And nothing confuses a provocateur more than someone who refuses to dance to their music. In psychology, this is closely tied to what's called psychological reversal. When someone expects one outcome and receives the opposite, their brain stumbles. The aggressor anticipates that you'll defend yourself, that you'll match their tone, that you'll play their game. When you don't, they're left exposed, vulnerable, even embarrassed. You've stolen the stage simply by refusing to perform. Think of it this way. People who argue loudly want control. They want to own your emotional state. And if you allow them to change how you feel, they've already won. But if you stand tall, grounded, with no anger, no offense, you quietly communicate something powerful. You have no power here. It's like holding up a mirror. They end up fighting their own reflection while you remain untouched. Picture a scenario. In the workplace, a colleague accuses you unfairly during a meeting. Most would defend themselves immediately, raising their voice, losing composure. But if you simply look at them, let the silence stretch, and then calmly redirect the facts, without emotion, the room feels the shift. Everyone sees who lost control. And spoiler, it isn't you. That silence, that lack of reaction, is heavier than 1,000 arguments. It makes others question the credibility of the one trying to provoke you. Now here comes the twist most people miss. By refusing to get angry or offended, you're not just protecting yourself, you're actually manipulating the situation in your favor. You're controlling the tempo, the rhythm, the psychological battlefield, because once you control the tempo, you control perception. People around you start noticing the contrast. One person exploding with emotions, and you, unshaken, almost untouchable. That contrast alone shifts the balance of power. In social dynamics, the one who maintains composure is perceived as stronger, wiser, even dominant. The one who loses their temper, no matter how right they might be, looks weak. This is why restraint, when used deliberately, becomes a weapon sharper than any word. There's a subtle form of dominance here, and it works because human beings are wired to seek emotional cues. We mirror each other constantly. Anger feeds anger, joy spreads joy, fear multiplies fear. But when you present a wall of calmness, you deny that mirroring. The other person throws fire, but it doesn't catch. Instead, they're left standing in their own flames. Slowly, they begin to realize they're burning alone. Let me give you another story. In ancient Japan, samurai were trained not only in combat, but in psychological discipline. One teaching said, "A true warrior wins without drawing the sword." Imagine two men, face to face, one furious, screaming threats, hand on his weapon. The other stands still, breathing slowly, eyes steady, heart calm. The crowd watching begins to shift their loyalty, not to the loud one, but to the one who radiates control. The fight is over before it begins. The calm warrior has already won. And here's the most fascinating part. Science supports this. When you stay calm under provocation, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the rational, strategic part of your brain. The aggressor, meanwhile, is trapped in their amygdala, flooded by emotion, unable to think clearly. That means in any confrontation, the one who stays calm literally has the biological advantage. You're not just avoiding anger. You're positioning yourself as the strategist, while the other person spirals out of control. This advantage is more than just psychological. It becomes social currency. People start to trust the one who can stay grounded, because calmness signals control, and control signals leadership. Think about the last time you witnessed two people arguing. Who did you believe looked stronger? The one yelling until their face turned red, or the one who listened, waited, and responded with precision? That silence carries weight. It forces others to fill the void. And usually the one who is most emotional ends up revealing more than they ever intended. And that's where the true power of not arguing, not getting angry, and not being offended unfolds. It turns every confrontation into a stage where the other person writes their own downfall. You don't need to discredit them. They do it themselves. You simply allow space for their weakness to be exposed. This is what master manipulators, negotiators, and leaders throughout history have always understood. Power doesn't always come from action. Often, it comes from controlled inaction. Let me paint a modern picture. Imagine you're at a family dinner. Someone takes a jab at you, an uncle, maybe, who loves to provoke. Everyone waits for the explosion, but instead you smile faintly, sip your drink, and shift the conversation with a calm voice. In that moment, you haven't just avoided a fight. You've flipped the roles. He wanted to embarrass you, but the spotlight is now on him. His need for attention looks desperate, childish even, while you remain untouchable. The rest of the table sees the difference instantly. And that's the trick most people never learn. Offense only works if you accept it. Words are air, but they become chains the moment you let them wrap around your emotions. By refusing to react, you stay free. You remain in command. Freedom in this sense is intoxicating, because it isn't just about surviving an argument. It's about redefining the entire game of human interaction. The one who cannot be provoked becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. People quickly learn that their usual tactics don't work on you. They can't bait you, they can't destabilize you, they can't control you. And once they realize that, they either retreat or they begin to respect you, even if they don't like you. There's a reason ancient philosophers, from the Stoics to Eastern sages, insisted on mastering the self before trying to master the world. Anger, offense, and reactive arguments are chains. They tie you to the moods of others. But when you refuse to play, when you stay composed, you're untouchable. You stop being a pawn in their game and start becoming the one who defines the rules. Think about how this plays out in subtle, everyday moments. You're in traffic. Someone honks aggressively, maybe yells out of their window. Most people would shout back, gesture, escalate. But you don't flinch. You continue, steady, untouched. That driver has wasted their energy on a wall of calmness. You walk away with your peace intact, while they carry their rage long after the moment has passed. You've won a battle without lifting a hand. And here's something even darker. Silence and calmness don't just protect you. They can unsettle others on a deep, primal level. Human beings expect reciprocity. When they attack, they expect resistance. When none comes, their mind scrambles to make sense of it. Some feel powerless, some feel exposed, and some begin to fear you. Because the person who cannot be provoked is a person who cannot be controlled. And that fear, subtle, creeping, unspoken, can become your greatest advantage. When people realize you can't be moved by insults, manipulation, or anger, they begin to hesitate. They start second-guessing themselves before they even try to provoke you. That hesitation is the seed of power. It means you've entered their mind, and once you're there, you control the field without lifting a finger. This is why some of the most influential figures in history didn't rise through endless arguments, but through restraint. They learned that silence can be louder than words, and composure can be sharper than a blade. It's not about pretending you don't feel anger. It's about refusing to give that anger away as a gift. Because once it leaves you, it belongs to someone else, and they can use it against you. Keep it inside, and it becomes energy you can channel into strategy. Picture this: a crowded room, tension thick in the air. One person tries to humiliate you, to drag you down in front of everyone. All eyes are on you, waiting for the explosion. But instead, you pause. You let the silence stretch. You smile faintly, and you speak only when you decide to. not when they demand it. In that moment, the balance shifts. You haven't just protected yourself, you've created a story that everyone in the room will remember. Not of the insult, but of your unshakable control. And that's where we begin preparing for the final piece of this puzzle. The moment when not arguing, not being angry, not being offended, becomes more than defense. It becomes a weapon you can use to influence, to dominate, and to reshape the outcome of any confrontation entirely in your favor. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy on battles that were never worth fighting. You stop handing over your emotions like weapons to people who don't deserve them. And you start moving through life with a kind of quiet authority that others can feel but can't explain. That's the real secret behind don't argue, don't get angry, don't be offended. It isn't weakness, it's the highest form of strength. Because while everyone else is playing checkers with their tempers, you're playing chess with their minds. And here's the most powerful truth. Every time you refuse to react, you're conditioning the world around you. People begin to realize you can't be shaken, and slowly they adapt to you. They stop trying to provoke. They start adjusting their behavior, and without ever raising your voice, you've bent reality in your favor. That is the essence of psychological dominance. So the next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, remember, storms are loud, but they always pass. Stay still, stay calm, and let the storm exhaust itself. When the skies clear, you'll still be standing, and everyone will know who held the true power all along. If this insight has opened your eyes, imagine how much more you can uncover. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join this journey into the hidden forces that shape human behavior. Because once you master this, you don't just survive the game, you win it.